Hi, my name is Dennis. This is the second in a set of videos on temperaments and health. And in this video, we'll take a look at gravity and levity as it occurred in the ancient world. So the diagram up at the top there is known as a mandala, and it's a mandala of the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire. And in the ancient world, they were the equivalent of what today we would say the solid earth, the liquid water, the gaseous air, and warmth conditions or plasma as fire. So the elements in the ancient world were similar to today what physics would call the phases of matter. And the ancient world understood that there were always polar forces operating in systems. Yin and yang, Purusha, Prakriti, these polarities made things happen. So in the diagram down below, we see a little lake there by a mountain. Let's take the qualities of earth down here, and we'll take water. And earth and water in the ancient world were connected to the force that they called gravity. And the reason why they said that was because they looked out and they saw that water and earth kind of loved each other. There were puddles and rivers and lakes. And they also saw that the water loved the earth because every once in a while, coming out of the clouds, there would be water falling down on the earth in the form of rain, and that would fill up the lakes and the rivers again. So they said that water and earth had a kind of unique relationship to each other. But then when that happened, when the rain happened, they would see that to them, the force of the sun was not really present. So they said that was a kind of gravity condition. The clouds actually lowered and sometimes came right down onto Earth. So that to them said gravity. So now let's, instead of keeping the sun out there in left field, let's take the rain away. And then let's lift the clouds up a little bit here, and we'll bring the sun in. And the sun will shine on the earth and the water, and the other two elements will take over. The water will move up into the air because the sun has warmed it. And when that happened, the old people would look and they would see mist rising up the mountain and forming into clouds. Same things that they saw in their soup bowl in the morning. So they understood then that air and fire had the quality that they called levity. And levity and gravity were two poles. So let's organize earth, water, air, fire in a way that often, if you look at alchemy books, you'll see it's kind of expressed this way. So earth is down below, and then water is above, and air is above that, and then fire is above that, and gravity is down at the bottom, and levity is at the top. And that's a pretty good system, except there are some difficulties with it. So if I take some arrows that I'm trying to describe a little bit about how these things interact with each other, these elements, I could say fire up above, when the fire cools off, an alchemist would say a fire cools down because of the influence of gravity. It becomes air. It becomes heavy. Air becomes water under the influence of gravity. Water becomes earth when it forms ice. In the same way, if alchemists were to take the fire and put the fire down here, what would happen is the gravity would move out of the way. We'd have a condition known as fire under the earth, and the fire would then push the earth up into a water phase, become a liquid, and move on up until it became a gas and then became a pure levity. So the arrows are showing levity and gravity, but it's a very difficult system to work with to do that. So let's take the fire back here again. We'll put the fire in that corner, put the earth in that corner, water here, and the air up there the way we had it right in the very beginning, and then we'll move levity to the top and pull gravity to the bottom. And now we have something that the ancient peoples called a mandala. So let's kind of get rid of these guys here. And in this mandala, there is the possibility of understanding the dynamic of the way in which these things operate. So let's take a look at that. So air can become moist with water when it becomes cold, but air can be warmed by fire until it becomes dry. And when it becomes dry, it forms an ash, and the ash falls down to earth, where it meets water, or water meets earth, or air meets fire, or. These dynamics here are what is known as tempering. These form then in the mandala form. We see the dynamic of earth, water, air, and fire. So let's see if we can't clear that up a little bit. The four temperaments of hot at the top, and dry, and cold, and moist. Moist and dry are kind of moving towards hot and cold, and gravity's moving towards dry or moist, and we get the dynamic. And that image in the center with the little, kind of like a little wind vane, that's the ancient symbol showing that all of the things that are at these cardinal points are moving into each other in order to maintain balance. That's the essence of the mandala. That's the essence of what is a temperament, and we'll look at these in more detail in the next video. Thanks for watching.